Good evening, and thank you for kicking it with Brother Smalls. March is National Women's History Month, and we're here with a lady who's making history for the city of Mount Vernon, no other than the esteemed mayor of the great city of Mount Vernon, Shawyn Patterson-Howard. Hey, Mayor, how are you?
How are you doing, Brother Smalls? Glad to be here.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. And, my first question to you is, I watched you during the election process, and what struck me was that how you represented the city of Mount Vernon. There was one commercial, it wasn't one commercial, but there was a rally, and you kind of like broke out into songs specific to Mount Vernon. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, Mount Vernon is a big sports town, and
Yes.
we love our Knights.
Yes.
And whether it's football or basketball or baseball, we have the MOUNTVERNON chant.
Yes.
And so, right there, when you want to get the crowd hype,
Yeah.
that's everyone knows it, whether you're 15 or 75.
Got it.
You know that.
Can you, what is it?
MOUNTVERNON, Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon.
All right. Oh gosh, no, that was good. That was really. I was on the Facebook, your Facebook page today, and I saw a phrase. It said "Rebounding Resilient, Mount Vernon Strong." Explain that.
Well, look, 2.5 months into being in office, we were shut down by COVID. Mm-hmm. Clearly New Rochelle was the first community in the region in the country that experienced a major incident around COVID. And when it was time to reopen, we wanted to show that we knew how to rebound. We wanted to show that we were resilient, that we were strong, that we could get up from this incident, and as Biden now says, build back stronger.
Right.
And so that was just a phrase that we came up with to demonstrate some of our characteristics and how we were looking at facing COVID head on and ensuring that our economy and our residents and our health both rebounded and were resilient. And we really use that around economic development.
Sure.
And helping our businesses reopen. We finished with higher taxes than sales taxes than we predicted in the beginning of the year, than we budgeted for.
Yes. You said characteristics. For someone who's not from Mount Vernon, explain to the viewers what makes Mount Vernon so special.
The greatest asset that Mount Vernon has, people talk about our train stations and our transit system and our proximity to New York City. But I think the greatest part of Mount Vernon is the grit of the people, the resilience of the people. We have a lot of challenges, but the people in Mount Vernon have always been a people who have endured. We are a very multicultural, intergenerational community. And so I think the greatest strength of Mount Vernon is our human capital, not necessarily our property or our train stations, but the people. The people is what makes Mount Vernon special.
Got it. No, thank you for that. And so with that, what are some of the challenges facing the city of Mount Vernon, and what are some of the initiatives that you're doing to kind of address them?
Well, Mount Vernon, like many communities around the country, it's a much older community. And so the infrastructure in our community is quite old, and it has not been maintained and replaced for a long time.
Right.
And so today I did an interview with a national publication, and we talked about 3 times 100. Our sewers are 100 years old, 100 miles long, and will take over $100 million to replace and repair.
Wow.
And so that's one of our biggest challenges that we have right now is the sewer system is literally crumbling and causing sewage to back up in people's homes as well as to spill out into the Hutch and the Bronx River. What are we doing about that? We've been, I think since August, we've probably repaired 95% of the issues that the federal and the state government have presented to us. We are purchasing the equipment to evaluate our entire sewer system, and we're working with the state to secure some grants to build our capacity and totally evaluate our system so that we can go after federal and state funding. Some of the other challenges facing Mount Vernon are similar to all communities.
Sure.
You have an economy that has been sluggish. We've been, in a mini depression, definitely a recession, even outside of COVID. Mm-hmm. And so what COVID exposed are the deep fault lines that exist around economic and food security, health disparities, mm-hmm. people who are living precariously perched on the brink of homelessness, definitely a need for economic development and an investment in the human capital in our city. How are we going to help people grow their businesses? How are we going to help ensure that people are getting the best education so they can be competitive? What are we going to do to support our small businesses and our entrepreneurs? So we're really focusing on a lot of capacity building efforts, mm-hmm. as well as economic development efforts. And so some of the initiatives we have going on, we're part of Mayors for Guaranteed Income. There are 30 communities throughout the country right now that are a part of MGI. And so we're going to assist 100 families by providing them with $500 a month, no strings attached. They have to be income eligible. It's not that we're going to give payments to their landlords or we're going to give them a food card or pay their Con Ed. We believe that people know how best to spend the money that we give them. Studies have shown throughout the country that it has helped families kind of move out of a poverty position. It's not a lot of money, $500 a month, yes. But $500 a month will help you pay your rent.
That's right.
It will give you money for a car tire that blows, and so you're able to cover that. For a parent who might need to be at home more with their children because schools are closed, they won't have to work a few extra hours of overtime. But really importantly, people can even use it for transportation.
Right.
To get them a car, something a little ride around that helps you get to a job out in Ossining or in New Jersey. That public transportation could take you hours to get to.
Right.
But it provides you with an opportunity to get a job that's more competitive, that's higher paying, and allows you to get back home in a decent time to take care of your family and do the things that you need to do. So we have to provide people with options, and we have to trust that they're not going to use the money unwisely. We bail out billionaires, we bail out Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies all the time, and no one asks how prescriptive we are when we are giving them our tax dollars. And so we understand that cash is the currency of urgency. And when you give people money, they're going to reinvest it right back into the community.
Sure.
The families that we're going to work with, as I said, many of them are trying to just stabilize themselves. And so what are they going to do with it? They're going to buy groceries. They're going to pay their utilities. They're going to pay their rent. They're going to buy gas for their car. They might get a small little car or cover their insurance. The money is going to come right back into the community more than if we invest in big companies who are going to send their money overseas and pay their stockholders.
Wow, that's a fascinating program. It reminds me a little bit of the Family Self-Sufficiency program that I worked in years ago. Yeah, I won't say how long ago I worked in that program, but giving people the resources to make the choices and help them to better their lives. That's just a wonderful thing. Mayor.
And it's about dignity.
Yes.
It's about dignity. We have a lot of people who are above the eligibility line for public services, but they still need help, and they struggle and they're stressed. My mother was a single mother, and I watched her bring her paycheck home every other Friday, and it was like a celebration. She usually brought home, fast food that night as well, on the day she got paid. And I sat on the bed with her as she took out her manufacturer's Hanover, Manny Hanny, that was the bank she used, and it was an envelope that had her cash in it. She took the money out, she counted it. And she put it in envelopes. This was the envelope for food. This was the envelope for rent. This was the envelope for transportation, for Shawyn's extracurricular activities. And I would just look at her divide that money up. And we went to the supermarket. She pulled out her food envelope and she counted up what she had. She had a list of what she could buy. And if we got to the cash register and she was out of money, then she made decisions about what to pull back. But I know that we were living close to the margin. And we had family who could help us out from time to time. But not everyone has family, and not everyone's family has resources. My family was never rich, but they were always able to help her through those rough times so that she could send me to Africa in high school, so that I could go to summer camp every once in a while, sleep away. We weren't rich. We lived a very modest life. We had an apartment. But I know that $500 a month or $250 back then would have helped her and made a difference. And so we want to make that difference for families. We want to help relieve some of their pressure, their stress, and their anxiety. And we want to do it in a way that's empowering and allows them to maintain their dignity. So another program that we're instituting is called Financial Navigators. And we're doing Financial Navigators in partnership with the Urban League. We received money from Cities for Financial Empowerment, CFE, and they gave us $80,000. So we're subcontracting, like I said, with the Urban League, and we have Financial Navigators. You can call almost like a 311 line, and you get a counselor and you tell them, look, I need to pay my rent or food money. I'm looking for money for my small business. And they help you find the resources and they give you direction. So they're like the 311 of financial support. We are creating an Office of Economic Empowerment in the city of Mount Vernon, and so Universal Basic Income will go under there. MGI, Mayors for Guaranteed Income, Financial Navigators will go under there. We're working with WEDC, Westchester Economic Development Center, and we do a class that helps people do their business plans and learn how to market their companies and gain access to capital and build a strong business for themselves. And move your hustle into a business, because that's the challenge for a lot of communities of color is we have a hustle and you want to work off the books because you're living on the margin. So if you're making $1,000 a week, who has money to pay taxes on that? And so, but if you don't have that money in the bank and if you're not paying taxes, when it comes time to move your business to the next level, you have no track record. You can't show your profit margin. And so we're really trying to help set people up for success. Our focus is expanding the capacity of our residents at every level, working with our young professionals to help them move and reinvest in the community.
Making history, I initially said, March is Women's History Month. And making history for the city of Mount Vernon. You're definitely making history for the city of Mount Vernon. Your victory was seismic in that, in many ways, more than
seismic.
And I think that it means a lot. And you were the first female mayor in the city of Mount Vernon. What does it feel like to be the first, and have you thought about the significance of being the first and how little girls, look at you as the first female mayor?
So for me, when I ran and when I won, it was less about making history and more about being able to make an impact.
Got it.
But then I quickly understood, like you said, that it was historical. And so it's interesting, the senior women in the city, as I went through the senior citizens buildings and the recreation programs, the Armory and the Dole Center and the different day programs, the women were saying, we are fighting for you, we are praying for you, we are voting, we are rallying behind you. And it was amazing because they said, we never thought that we would see it. And the look in their eyes, the hope, the well wishes was overwhelming. And then there are days that I'm walking down the street and there are little girls that will run up to me and like jump up or hug my leg. And they're like, oh my, mommy, it's the mayor, it's the mayor. and I sit and I talk with the young ladies, you know, whether they're 3 or whether they're 13. And they're excited. And so there are days where I guess I really have to stop and think about how inspiring it is. And I'm not here to impress anyone. Whatever I do, I want it to leave a lasting impression upon people. And I'd rather, the only way that you can leave that type of impression is through service, but also being very honest about your own challenges and your struggles. There are a lot of people who will see me and say, oh my goodness, you know, she's doing these great things. I don't know if I can do them. And I have to let them know. Special ed, had an IEP. I'm dyslexic. You know, I struggle with my confidence at times. I have to get up early and stay up late to get my work done. It doesn't come easy. And like I said, there are days where I really struggle with my confidence, but I push through it. And I have friends and I have family who have created a standard for me, and they won't allow me to fall below that standard. I think they know my potential more than I know my potential. And so it's important to have a tribe around you who will push you. It's important to have mentors around you who will help coach you, who will open up doors for you, who will provide opportunities and put their name on the line for you. And that's how I'm sitting here, not because of anything great of myself, but because how people have invested in me.
Well, on that theme and on Women's History Month, can you tell us about a woman in history or in your life that has made a lasting impact in your life?
So, of course, my mother. Of course, my mom. My mother had polio at 4. And she struggled with lots of health issues throughout her life. But she's always been an overcomer. And so I've watched her fight and continue to press and push through many obstacles and challenges, never making an excuse. But when it comes to some of my early role models outside of my mother or my grandmother, Nellie Thornton, who the school is named after in Mount Vernon. That was my godmother. And she was national president of Jack and Jill, and she was a Lincoln, an AKA, elementary school principal. But what I saw her do was serve. As a principal, she brought washers and dryers so that the children who came to school and their clothes might have been dirty and they were teased. She always had extra clothes so they could change into them. And then she would take their clothes and send them home with clean clothes. She had a big house in Mount Vernon, and there were some children who had a fire in their building, and their parents moved into a shelter, but that also would have really disrupted the children's lives. And so she brought the children to her home, and the children lived in her home, and she hired someone to help take care of the children. So my mother always told me, she worried about me. She says, I know you really honor your godmother, and you're so much like her in that you are working as an executive, but you're also this caretaker, and you have compassion for people, and I'm worried that you're going to burn yourself out. But I think I'm addicted to the hard work. I'm addicted to the service. I'm energized by it. So the things that people usually tell me to do less of are the things that energize me.
Got it.
Those are the things that keep me going. Those are the things that renew me. The politics are draining. Serving people and making a difference, that energizes me. I'm not as much of an extrovert as people think, but I enjoy being around people to help them, to strengthen them, to help develop them, and to make a difference. I could do that all day.
Wow, 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 wow. So, I just want to give you applause, and before we started to tape, I was telling you about something that I want to do later this month called Give It Up. I'm going to be at one of our local restaurants here, Alvin's and Friends, and I just want to give it up to women like yourself and women in history and my wife and my mom, and I want to give other people the opportunity to give women accolades. I say real men love women, you know, so real men love women. And another thing I say, I have many sisters but one wife. But, you know, it's important for women to hear men, you know, give them praises and to kind of let them know that we support them, you know, and we support, you know, what they do, and we acknowledge what they do, because you guys do so much, you know, for us all. So look out for that. We'll definitely be, you know, letting people know and how they can kind of stream in and do that. But I think it's important for us to do.
Just make sure you include some of those everyday women.
That's right.
The women who aren't recognized,
Right.
who are getting up early and making sure their babies are ready for school, and
That's right.
who may not have a big meal, but they get some spiced ham or whatever they can
Yeah.
put together to take
Yeah.
care of their family.
Yeah.
We have to celebrate and encourage them.
That's right.
Because they're the ones who are really holding our communities together.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. No, we definitely will do that. Mayor, I wanted to ask, and you know, for some people that you know, don't know you, and a lot of people that's going to be viewing this interview, this may be the first time that they're getting to see you. Tell us about something. Tell us something that, you know, most people don't know about you.
Oh, that's kind of, I'm pretty transparent, but I guess one of the things that some people may not know about me is that I was a musician. I ran track.
Okay.
You know, I was a big athlete growing up, and I played in the band since I was 8 years old. I marched for college.
Okay.
I got to travel around the country with the band.
Nice.
And do a lot of great things. We did halftime shows for the Giants, the Jets, the Redskins, Dallas Cowboys, marched in parades everywhere. And so that was a part of my life that I just remember and was a lot of fun.
What instrument?
Clarinet.
Clarinet.
Yes.
Wow.
I can do sax a little bit, but clarinet is my instrument.
Do you still play?
I will be playing. And I'll be announcing that soon.
Okay.
I'm going to have to do a little something as we reopen Memorial Field and we have a concert and a music festival.
Wow.
So I will be doing a duet with a really renowned artist that I'm excited about.
All right. No, you got to let us know about that. You know, and my daughter, she's actually picking up the saxophone. So now I can say, well, you know, Mayor Patterson-Howard, you know, she used to play the sax too. So, you know, just kind of give her a bit of encouragement.
A lot of women saxophone players.
Yes. Just from knowing you and talking to you, you're doing so many different things, so many vibrant things. Like you said, you love to serve. I'm interested in finding out, how do you bring it down? Sunday, you know, I heard you give an encouraging word, and then, you know, that evening you were, you know, talking to constituents about police reform. And I'm like, and actually I heard one time where you say, hey, I work 7 days a week. And so I'm, in my mind, I'm saying, when do you, you know, tone it down a little bit? And how do you do that?
So like I said, you know, serving for me is not work.
Got it.
It's not work. It is my recreation. It is my wind down. So if I'm doing food distribution or clothing distribution or a community cleanup day, and I have an opportunity to just have fun, and people allow me not to be mayor, but just to be Shawyn as I'm doing those events,
yes.
Those are some of the ways that I wind down, and that might sound strange. But other things that I do is I listen to music.
Nice.
I love the water.
Okay.
Spending time with friends and family. And every once in a while, just vegging out on the couch and doing a day of Netflix or some reality shows that are mindless entertainment.
Okay. Now, Mayor, do you sing?
Do I sing? No.
Okay. Do you sing at home or do you sing?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
We are all like, I am Leontine Price in the shower. I let it out, but in public, no Jesus, that's not my gift. That's not my gift.
Okay.
I'll sing at church in the background.
Gotcha.
Praise and worship.
I usually sing with my guests, but we're not going to do that now.
Ooh, no.
Oh gosh, no, this has been wonderful, Mayor, and so thank you so much for your time. I wanted you to kind of give any final remarks, and then also I want you to give people your information or how they can kind of stay in touch with what you're doing, what's going on in the city of Mount Vernon.
Sure. So one of the ways to reach out and stay updated with what we're doing in the city of Mount Vernon is our website is www.cmvny.com. We also have our social media pages, which are always CMV at Facebook, at Twitter, at Instagram, or Mayor SPH at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So those are the ways to keep up with us on social media. We have a YouTube channel, but I can't remember exactly what the YouTube channel is. And then if you go on cmvny.com, you can register and sign up for our weekly report and our email blast. We send email blasts out to keep the community updated on what's going on, and then we send out a weekly report just to give people a week and a review of the week and what we're doing and what's coming up for the next week.
Wow, thank you so much for that. One more question.
Yes.
Will you come back on the show?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
You heard that, America. We're going to get her back on the show when she's doing fantastic things for the city of Mount Vernon. Thank you so much, the esteemed mayor of the city, the great city of Mount Vernon, Shawyn Patterson-Howard. Thanks again, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Look forward to being back.
All right.
Informs, uplifts, and